Workforce Development Manager, Paul focuses on expanding the reach of the Build Your Future Arizona campaign, which ultimately increasing career awareness of roles within construction and the trades while working to align education and training programs to the needs of employers. Through Paul's leadership, BYF Arizona has been in front of 34,000 high school students and generated over 10,000 construction career awareness forums. Paul was also instrumental in launching BYF Arizona's TikTok channel, featuring a construction career video each week. Build Your Future Arizona's mission is to create a sustainable skilled trades workforce by creating awareness about high-paying construction career and training opportunities and mapping career paths to employment in these high-demand occupations. Welcome, Paul. We are so glad you are here with us today.
I forgot to unmute myself there. Thank you, Cindy. I'm excited to be able to present to your membership and to talk a little bit about the Build Your Future initiative. Just to give you a little bit of background, because some of you may not have even heard of Build Your Future, but the Greater Phoenix Chamber Foundation is the nonprofit arm of the Chamber, and it focuses on workforce development, industry-specific workforce development, education, and the data that backs up what those workforce needs are. They've had a construction collaborative for about 7 years, but about 5 years ago, as they were meeting, they said, look, you know, we got issues. People are using us as an example as to why people should get a 4-year degree. They think that construction's unsafe, it's a dead-end job, there's no money in it, it's susceptible to the economy. And we said, we really have to address those issues. And so the group got together and decided that they wanted to form a construction career awareness campaign. Now, many of you already know our situation that we all have here in Arizona. The average wages right now for a construction job is about $55,000. But our big problem is that we need to fill 246,000 construction jobs by December of next year. That's just a huge number. Just to give you a perspective, we graduate 100,000 students in Arizona on average per year. And 53% of those are not enrolled in college at the time that they graduate, but we're not getting them over here into the construction sector. So we really wanted to figure out, how do we tap into that? Here's another scary tidbit. When we launched Build Your Future in October of 2019, the projected need to fill of construction jobs by 2022 was 150,000 jobs. So you can see we jumped nearly 100,000 jobs here, or 96,000 to be exact, 64% there. It's just a huge number that we're looking at in the growth that's gone on. So it's a real problem. Many of you have heard this statistic before, that 41% of our current workforce is going to be retired within the next 8 years. So we do have a genuine need here, and that's what Build Your Future was really focusing on. The decision was made that this needed to be an industry-led, industry-financed campaign with outreach to not only students who were in high school currently, but 18 to 24-year-olds, to try to encourage them to look at career changes and shifts. So that's really what we've had our focus on. This is a fancy way of saying what I said earlier. With our official mission statement, is really to raise that awareness, to help people know that these are good paying jobs with a solid career path for it. We also need to be able to point people to training, not only on the job apprenticeship training, but what is available post-secondary to get the students involved with construction careers. And of course, the career path that will involve some additional education as they go along and progress in a career. And then really showing them what is that map to the next step of their construction career journey. This is our steering committee that we have for Build Your Future Arizona. Many of you may recognize some of these industries or these companies and what they represent. We have a mixture of subcontractors, general contractors that are involved, some specialty type of construction companies that are involved, but they make all the decisions. We made that decision, as I said earlier, that we're not turning this over to a marketing company. We leverage marketing company to help us, but we want to know what the industry needs are and what are they looking for, and how do we help fulfill that in trying to build this talent pipeline. Currently, we have 27 investor companies. We've had a total of 55 companies over the past 4 years, but they've raised over $3 million to be utilized in this campaign. And we'll talk a little bit about where that money is going and how we use that to get in front of these target audiences. There are four basic audiences that we're focusing on. Parents are a big one, right? They really influence students' decision-making while they're in high school, whether or not they take a CTE training course. Young adults, when they're 18, as I said, with 53% of them not being enrolled in college, we know that they wind up going into food service, hospitality, or warehouse work. And our goal is how do we help minimize that wasted time? It could be in those careers anywhere from 2 to 5 years before they start to get serious about what they want to do as a career. We really do try to get in front of the high school students prior to them making the decision. I don't know if many of you know this, but in Arizona, you make the decision to take a career technical education training course for high school in the January of your sophomore year, which then locks you into that program for your junior and senior year. So we know we have to get in front of these students prior to that time in order for them to really leverage what are those training abilities and programs that are out there for them at their high school or at a CTED or JTED that they're near. And the last group, of course, are veterans. All of you know, and if you do have veterans that work for you, they bring tremendous skills to the job that you hire them for. They're excellent at working on teams. They understand what their roles are that are there. They're really committed. And we know that we love having the veterans involved with this. Of course, we also recognize we have to cater and be ready for bilingual, or if English is not a primary language or a second language, we have to be able to help that. And of course, we're focusing on the Metro Phoenix area. The companies that have made the investments in the campaign are here locally, but we are hoping to be able to expand this to other parts of the state so that we can get these same programs into classrooms and getting companies involved in their local community on how they can impact and build that talent pipeline. So this is really what I feel is the gist of what we're trying to do, right? Construction careers impact all different aspects. They impact the economy, they impact the companies that are involved directly with it, but most importantly, they impact the lives of individuals and families. These are excellent careers. These are opportunities to really provide an excellent lifestyle for someone and for their families. And the other thing is everything you do is a legacy. It is a testament to what you guys have with your skills, because you have an end product here that's going to be used for decades, if not generations. And that's really something that's very important with the Gen Z folks and Gen Alpha that we've got right now. They want to make an impact in their community. They want to see change. They want to be able to be a part of that. And this is something that we try to emphasize when we're explaining about the great opportunities with construction careers. Now, some of you may know from the beginning, and I don't know if any of you recall, but this was our billboard that we did when we launched the campaign 4 years ago. We recognize that we have to be out there in front of people so that they can be aware of what there may be with some different careers in construction. This was our billboard that we did last fall, and we intentionally did this with geo-tracking. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this, but when you see those digital billboards that are along the freeways, we can actually have things that will have a sensor that will tell when somebody is within 2 miles of a billboard. And we can pay to have in a Google search, if they use Google, an ad for our website to pop up, which is what we did. So we knew that people working for Amazon are looking for better jobs. So we intentionally put our billboards within 5 miles of an Amazon warehouse and turned on geo-tracking for it. So that really generated a lot of website traffic for Build Your Future itself last fall. We also participated with a light rail campaign last spring. So we were on 2 trains that ran the full route of the light rail. And we were lucky enough that it actually was going on during the Super Bowl. So we had some other folks that actually got to see what we were promoting about finding your crew and starting a career in construction. We also utilized vehicle wraps that were with that with some of our investor companies to be able to tell that story. Now, let's just talk a little bit about what this campaign has done. Over the past 4 years, the campaign, now this is coupled with what you saw with outdoor, with paid advertising that we have on the internet and social media, has generated 139 million impressions. So that impression word means for marketing eyeballs. How many people saw something about Build Your Future in that 4-year period? That was actually 23% higher than what we had budgeted or expected we would have in those efforts. We launched a website, byfaz.org. It's really simple and easy to find with it. That particular website generated over 500,000 visits in the 4 years so far. So that averages about 360 visits per day. Now, the part that's been really great, and I'm told by marketers this is an exception because we're not giving away anything, prizes, cash, or anything like that, but they're spending almost 2 minutes on our website. So that's an indication that we have relevant content and that people are exploring and checking out different pages and things that we're offering in regard to training, descriptions of careers, and so forth. Now, I mentioned social media. We know that this is where 16 to 34-year-olds are, and we're going to where they're located and meeting them where they are. And we've actually, Cindy mentioned in the intro thing about TikTok. We launched a TikTok channel 2 years ago, and we made it a point to post a video every week for 18 months straight. We normally average about 600 views on our videos. But if we do paid advertising to promote a video with a link, we can get over 100,000 views. Really cool thing is that we had, and I'll share this a little bit later, but we had over 2.5 million video views. This is a sample of one of our Instagram posts. And remember, I told you about industry being the driver about this. Our steering committee said, look, people who are going to be successful in construction and even interested in one of these careers, they like working on a team. They like being out and doing something on the weekend that's physical, right? They are driving ATVs or motorcycles. They're doing something that's active. So the campaign here was, if this is your weekend, this should be your weekday view. So you can see the team that's here. We actually incorporated employees from the investor companies to provide photos of what they did on the weekend. So the motorcycle, when you see here, the campaign we did was, if this is your weekend ride, this should be your weekday ride. So we show a piece of heavy equipment. If this is your weekend view, this should be your weekday view. Maybe it's a view from a crane, or it's a view of a job site. So that's just a sample of some of the type of things we're doing on social media and what we were doing specifically with Instagram. I want to take a minute to show you 3 30-second videos. We actually show these in the classroom and ask the students to participate in a quiz afterwards to see what they learned and if they were paying attention. So just let me run through and let you see a couple of these sample videos real quick here.
I got on LinkedIn just throughout just teachers at GCU. They told us it was a great way to get jobs and stuff. I was pretty skeptical about like the construction side of it, finding jobs that way, but it was very easy. They had a bunch of internships, a bunch of opportunities, They post labor jobs, carpenter jobs, superintendent jobs, PE jobs, any kind of job you want. Sent in my resume, and here I am.
See if I can get that to play. There we go.
So I got into construction so young. I heard there was great money out here, so I came out here. And once I saw how lucrative it could be, I was like, all right, man, it's go time. Let's stay here. Let's do it. Started here at 18 years old. Within my first year, I bought my first truck from a dealership and a bunch of other toys since then. And then at 23, I actually purchased my first house, so I'm a homeowner now. One great thing about Erickson is you get paid to learn on the job. So somebody who's been in this area or has an expertise in this area, they'll put you guys together and they'll actually guide you through step by step on what they're doing and how they're doing it. Come out and try it. If you don't like it, there's always something you could do after the fact. But I think once they get out here, they'll end up liking it and stick around, same as me.
The best part about this industry is you can earn while you learn. I started in November of 2017, and by January of 18, I was already in my first year of apprenticeship program. The whole time I was going to school, I was getting a paycheck. I never had to pay a dime for any of the schooling I've done through DP, and I've just been able to become a better electrician that whole way.
So these are just examples of some of the videos that we've produced. We've worked with our investor companies, and when we go out to actually prepare videos, we do interviews with entry-level employees. So it would be apprentices that are there. We then interview journeymen, Then we make a decision to interview either a foreman or a superintendent. And we always do an interview of somebody behind the job site. So that could be a project manager, that could be an estimator, just depends. But the thing is, we want to show these young people, what do careers look like here? What are the opportunities for advancement? So that's just a couple of samples of what we've got that we had in the way of our TikTok videos.
So I got into
Let's see
construction.
here. There we go. As I had mentioned before, 2.5 million views. This is the staggering thing. That was just in this past year, from July 2022 through June of 2023. That's an average of over 7,000 video views per day. So we know that we're making an impact between our YouTube channel and our TikTok channel, and we're just there to try to promote that. And that really helps to drive people to come and check out our website. We'd love for you to follow us on our social media. We're real easy to find. All you have to do, we're always at BYF Arizona. So you can put that on any social media platform and it'll come up. We primarily use our Instagram and TikTok and Twitter for targeted audiences between the ages of 16 and 24. We use LinkedIn to really talk about what are we doing with our programs and about what are our investor companies doing and with their workforce development efforts. All right, let's move to our next slide. So student facing, this is something that we are really passionate about here. We know that we can't make a difference if we're not in front of these young people to tell the story. Something that we noticed that we had a real challenge with previously, before launching Build Your Future, was career counselors, right? They were not pointing students to construction careers. If they had a student that did not have a plan to go to college, they were pointing them to for-profit trade schools. We have now made inroads and have actually produced, and I'll hold this up so you can see it on the camera. We've produced a series of trading cards that we provide to students when we're at career fairs or in our classroom presentations that talks about it. And then on the back, it talks about how much that job pays, the average yearly income and hourly wage. And for the career counselors, we produced some oversized ones like this, laminated on the 3-ring. And of course, it shows the back here with it, and they can actually scan the QR code. So we've been told by career counselors they're thrilled to be able to offer something now to students who may not have a plan for 4-year college, and they really are able to show them a viable career option with tremendous earnings. Now, one of the things that we did is we were getting into the classroom and we're really preparing and talking to students about what are they looking to do after they get out of high school. We want to talk about how they can get started in this career with little or no debt. We really want to discuss the earning potentials. When we're in there in the classroom, we actually talk about the payment of a $65,000 student loan. I don't know how many of you are aware of this or not, but it's nearly $900 a month on the current interest rates for a student loan for $65,000. And then we explain the average 1-bedroom apartment right now in Phoenix is $1,600. So we tell them you're at $2,400 and you haven't bought food yet or paid for electricity or your transportation. So we want to talk about lifestyle and how do we get them jump started on a career and a career that will actually grow with them with their earning potential. This is a couple of shots of some of the folks of our what we call BYF ambassadors. Our investor companies, we encourage them to provide people that might be able to come with us out into classrooms. The center picture is an electrician talking about where he was in high school, not sure what he wanted to do. The top right photo there is an iron worker as well as an estimator. And then the top left is a variety of folks from 2 different electrical organizations that talk about whether they're journeyman electricians, superintendents, project managers. We want the students to be able to see somebody that doesn't look like me. I'm their grandpa, right? They don't listen to us very well. They don't listen to the teachers, but when they get to meet the people in the trades, they're really passionate about it. Funny story about a project manager that I took in. This was about 3 weeks ago. They asked her, what does your average day look like? Project manager starts running down everything she has to do, talks about a fire she had to put out with a problem that was on a project, a couple of other things. And as soon as she finished it up, one of the students raised their hands and says, that sounds very stressful. How do you deal with stress? And it was just another example of things that we would not think about maybe from when we were 18 and getting ready to graduate from high school, but things that may be a question, and how do we help be transparent with students so that they can know and get the answers to things that might be a concern or a possible barrier for them in pursuing a construction career. Now, another thing that we do in the classroom is an assessment tool. It's called Career Match. It's 4 questions that we ask them, and they're designed to try to find out, is this person good with attention to detail? Do they like to work on a team or work by themselves? Are they more technology prone as opposed to hands-on work? Do they want to be a leader? And we actually have them take the career assessment right there live in the class, and then I distribute the trading cards that you saw, and we talk about what those jobs really involve and what the pay is that they would be looking at making. As Cindy had mentioned, we were in front of 34,000 students cumulatively over the past 4 years. 13,000 were in the school year for 2022-2023. So far this fall of 2023, I've already exceeded 13,000 students to be in front of, between in-classroom presentations and career fairs. So we're on target to definitely go past 14,000 this year in what we're out and talking about. And of course, we would love to have your organizations be investors and go with us into the classrooms to talk about career opportunities with your particular company. Now, another thing, we don't just rely on us. We utilize our PR team. So last year, for 2022 and 2023, we had 6 different local TV stations do stories that were construction career related. We participated in 5 dedicated radio interviews about Build Your Future in our initiative. Arizona Real Estate Magazine did a 16-page spread on Build Your Future, and they're planning to have a 14-page one for this January. And we were actually interviewed by the Wall Street Journal about how is Phoenix dealing with its work shortage in regard to enough construction workers to do the work, about the CHIPS Act that was there. And we actually got interviewed about how Arizona construction companies deal with heat. The Wall Street Journal wanted to do a story on that. So kind of some good publicity we've got there, and really pushing it and raising the awareness of construction careers. Now, of course, we'd love to have you as individual companies come and join us as an investor in Build Your Future. As you saw, those videos that we made, those were from investor companies that we worked with. If you come in with Build Your Future at a $5,000 level, and there's lots of companies that are spending at least that much just to participate in a golf tournament, annually. But you'd be participating and recognized on our Build Your Future investor webpage. You're able to link to either your career page or your home page that's there. You have the opportunity to have your folks participate as ambassadors to get in front of classes. The really cool thing that we want to involve you with, though, is also participating on business advisory councils, talking about what's being taught in school and at EVIT and WestMech that's construction related. Are they producing what you need? What are some things that you think are important that these students need to know before they start that career? We also give you the opportunity to participate in either job shadows, hosting high school interns, or even field trips. And we also have ways to help you deal with that 18 years of age and so forth. There are certain things that you're actually qualified to allow students to do that would not be prohibited by them not being 18. So we'd love to have you come on board and be an investor with us and to help publicize your company and what you're doing in your own workforce or training, and have you support us in what we're doing. So that's my presentation. I'm open if anybody would like to have any questions or comments. We'd love to hear from you.
Great information, Paul. I know that I've mentioned this before, but we run into one another quite a bit at job fairs and other events, and there is nothing quite like interacting with those soon-to-be young adults and seeing them get so excited about the possibilities and the doors that are available to them in construction. So that's wonderful. We did have one question. I'll put it in the chat. But do you want to talk a little bit about what your team's role is in Governor Hobbs's Build It Arizona initiative?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, we were actually approached by Governor Hobbs' team, and we submitted a list of several companies that we thought would be a good representation. The governor's initiative is to double the number of apprenticeships by 2026. I think sometimes we only think of organized labor in regard to apprenticeship programs, but we have several companies that actually host their own, and they do utilize NCCER curriculum. So we shared with the governor's team those organizations. And I know that we have two, at least, we're trying to confirm the list, but we know we have at least two Build Your Future companies that are sitting on that committee to be able to talk about that, because we want them to be able to know there are 4-year apprenticeships all around, right? And they're actually registered apprenticeship programs. So yes, we're participating with that. Now, the interesting thing though, Cindy, is that name is so similar, Build It AZ. And I've had many people say, is that you? Is that you? So, but yeah, we're working with them on it.
Yeah, that's great. And we're really excited to be a part of that initiative as well. So there are many companies, organizations, and agencies working together to double that number of apprenticeship programs. And don't be dissuaded. If you're a smaller company,
Mhm.
you too can start an apprenticeship program. So please definitely reach out to Paul, reach out to us if you need more info. Oh, I did see another question in the chat from Pam. Great program. Do you plan to expand to other areas?
Yes, we do. We're actually in conversations. I'm not allowed to say what community, but it is outside of Maricopa County that wants to leverage this, because when they saw what we were doing in the classrooms, they said, we need this for our students, right? Our students need to understand that there is a viable career for them in construction. And the one community said, I'm tired of my he says, I'm tired of my residents and citizens driving from my community while all this building is going on in my community, but they're driving away from where they live to do building somewhere else. So their focus is how do we get that where we want it to be, and really leveraging our own talent that's here within our community with those careers. And they raise a valid point, at the CTE conference this summer. Had a lot of enthusiastic school districts when they saw the trading cards that we had and the ones we had for the career counselors. They said, we need this to be able to show our students, because their small community might only have 1 or 2 smaller construction companies, right? But the students are thinking that's their only opportunity. And that's what we wanted to try to show them, is that there's definitely programs out there for them to be able to grow into it.
Yeah, there are tons of great programs out there. We have any other questions for Paul? I want to thank the Department of Economic Security for providing some info to us too.
Yeah.
Please reach out if you want to start an apprenticeship program and learn more. Their team can help you. Again, we shared Paul's information in the chat, and we'll also be sharing a copy of the recording on our YouTube page. So we'll put it on social media, share it in our newsletter. Please share it with any of your colleagues or other folks that you know that might want to get involved with this program. It is tremendous, and we're so glad to be a partner with Build Your Future Arizona. Thanks, Paul.
Well, thank you, Cindy. It was a pleasure. And again, I'd love to hear from anybody. We're more than happy to give your team some more information about what it would be like if you would want to be an investor. What does that look like for you guys financially, but also what does that look like for you as benefits, right, for your organization? Because some of you, when you do your bids, right, you have to talk about what you're doing for workforce. So this is a great way for you to be able to get that in there and not have to pay for a separate person, $30,000, $40,000 that can try to get some stuff. You can leverage what we've already got in place. So I look forward to hearing from some of your folks. So thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, Paul.
All right. Let you jump
thanks
on with the rest of your meeting.
Okay. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. It was great. Okay. Bye-bye.
Great job.